We have assembled a couple of great panels this morning for you to cover many sides of the manufacturing industry, and look forward to be hearing from these folks in a little bit. First, I wanted to thank some of our sponsors, who, without them, we couldn't put these things together at all. Our first sponsor I want to thank is Eisenhammer. They were the sponsor of the registration meeting this morning, so big hand to Eisenhammer. And we do try to sell everything. We do have a centerpiece sponsor, sponsored by Pro Hardware. So I thank them for sponsoring the beautiful centerpiece you see on the table. Thank you. Our main or platinum sponsor, we call them, is CohnReznick. CohnReznick LLP. It is one of the top accounting, tax, and advisory firms in the U.S., combining the resources and technical expertise of a national firm with a hands-on entrepreneurial approach that today's dynamic business environment demands. Headquartered in New York and with offices nationwide, CohnReznick serves with a large number of diverse industries and offers specialized services for middle market and Fortune 1000 manufacturing companies. The firm, with origins back to 1919, has more than 2,700 employees, including nearly 300 partners, and is a member of NetState International, a global network of independent accountancy, tax, and business advisors.
After all these years, you'd think there's nothing I don't know about this game, but you'd be wrong. The playing field keeps changing, and the same holds true no matter what business you're in. You need a team that can give you the expertise and forward thinking essential to make the right calls. Individuals win games, but teams win championships. CohnReznick, we're forward thinking.
I would like to bring up to the podium now Alan Wolfson. Alan Wolfson is with CohnReznick. Alan?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming out today to celebrate manufacturing. As Tom mentioned, my name is Alan Wolfson. I'm a partner with CohnReznick, and I lead our manufacturing wholesale distribution practice. We'd like to thank NJ Biz and the New Jersey Manufacturing Extension Program for allowing us the opportunity to be in front of you today, and we're looking forward to a wonderful, wonderful program. We've aligned ourselves with like-minded organizations that are committed to the growth and sustainability of manufacturing in New Jersey. And we're available resource to any of you for accounting, tax, and advisory services. Whether you're looking to expand your facilities, looking for incentives, looking for cross-segregation study opportunities, or need assistance with supply chain or inventory management, please consider us your resource. We are continually looking for ways to gather leaders in the industry together to work through some of the business challenges and discuss hot topics. We host biannual manufacturing roundtable events for owners and leaders who come together to discuss topics such as private equity issues and investing in the manufacturing industry, the Affordable Care Act, cybersecurity, and using innovation in your business plan, just to name a few. If you'd like to join this exclusive group of leaders, please stop by our booth today and we can discuss this in further detail. I look forward to meeting many of you today. Have a great manufacturing day.
Thank you, Alan, and the folks at CohnReznick. Right now, I would like to bring up our partner in this program, John Kenny. John is the president and CEO of NJMEP, and John is going to introduce our welcome speaker and our keynote speaker. John.
Well, Tom's only partially correct that this is the second annual manufacturing day. It's actually the fourth, but this is the second that we've done with NJ Biz, and it's a program that we're pretty proud of because it's something that is growing and changing as it is nationally, right, Carol? So So it's something that's very important to us. NJMEP is at this point where it's celebrating its 20th year. I've only been lucky enough to be around for 3 of those years, but we've done some really great stuff in working with the manufacturers over those years. But just like any event that we do, and I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I do want to call out, number one, our team, who's been around. A lot of them are veterans that have been with us for many of those years. And also Lenore DeSantis, who is our CFO, who without her undying efforts, including, I think, wandering in here about 10 o'clock last night to make sure that tables were out, we'd be in trouble. Lenore, thank you very much. One of the things that came, I was listening into our sales team meeting the other day, and somebody made the comment that manufacturing day for us is evolutionary, and it certainly is. The first year we worked a lot with NJIT, and we had a small event at their facility. The next year we had an event at Rutgers, and we had about 75 people. Last year we were over 300, this year we're over 400, so it has evolved, and we hope to continue to evolve. And to me, it's a lot like our industry when we talk about evolution, and it's something that we've got to focus on now and again. I think sometimes we get caught up into the reality of today, and we forget what got us here. I was at an event earlier in the week, and they said, the Makers Movement, it's unprecedented in the history of the United States. And I started thinking about that, and I realized that my father was actually the founder of Maker's Day, because at our house, we didn't have a lot of money, but we had a good workshop. And all my friends used to come over and do projects and stuff. So it was actually William Kennedy Sr. that started Maker's Day. The reality is that Maker's Days have been going on for a long time, and I love what we're doing now, but it's no different in what as things have changed. The other evolution I've seen is, a lot of people were talking at that same presentation and saying that, we're not going to have jobs, everything's going to be done by robots. And about 3 weeks ago, I went to an event. I live in Madison, and we had the Museum of Early Trades, and there was a speaker who wrote a book from letters and diary entries of people that helped really create the country. And they were talking about the advent of the electric drill and how it was used now to, bore through huge beams. And the electric drill, instead of taking 4 people, now took 2 people. And there was letters back and forth from workers saying, I'm going to lose my job because of this advancement. And then there were later letters talking about how they were now trained to maintain, or they were retrained in a different job. So what we're doing isn't new. It's how things have changed. And it's also looking at the people that we're training, and coming into the industry. And that's up to us, all of us in this room. And I think sometimes we lose, the emphasis when we're talking to young people. It's not the time to get them and speak to them when they're in college. It's certainly the time to speak to them when they're in 5th and 6th grade. That's when I got interested in being an engineer. I took engineering merit badge, 1968. And I wanted to be an engineer after that. Things that expose us to a variety of opportunities is what really drives us. And those are critical to what we do. I had mentioned a number of times that about a year or so ago I did a one-question survey, and I sent it out, and a lot of people in this room probably replied to it. We got about 1,300 replies, and I think it's because of that one question. I said, what job can't you fill? And I thought it was all going to be welders, machinists, CNC operators, and they were on the list, most definitely. But there's also engineers. Number 5 was cost accountant. The number 1 was technical sales. And as one gentleman told me, he said, hey John, if we don't sell it, why build it? So our industry isn't only about the person that stands in front of a machine. Our industry is about all the people that make manufacturing into businesses. That includes sales and marketing, that includes purchasing, that includes the guys on the loading dock. It gets your stuff there and in one piece. You know, it's all important to us. So that evolution, you know, is something we have to draw on. And another evolution in our day today is having some of the speakers that we're going to have. The first one is somebody that's very special to us at NJMEP. That's Carol Thomas, who is the new director of NIST MEP, which is the national program. And Carol's pretty awesome, and luckily we snuck her away from Gaithersburg, Maryland, and got her into New Jersey. I think she came to see her sister, who teaches or works at Stevens. But we wouldn't let her leave the state. We had her chased by state police and got her here. So, Carol, and I'm not a big fan of reading things, but I could not do justice to her background without doing so. Carol is the new director of Hollings Manufacturing Extension Partnership, which is the MEP. In partnership with local nonprofits, the MEP provides support to small and medium-sized U.S. manufacturers through a network of centers in every state and Puerto Rico. Carol comes to NIST from the Small Business Administration, where she served as the Associate Administrator of the Office of Small Business Development Center, SBDCs. The SBDC is analogous to the MEP program in that it supplies $114 million in federal funds, and at least half that funding provided to 63 host organizations with expert businesses connections. MEP's network includes more than 440 service locations with more than 1,200 staff serving as business advisors and technical experts to help manufacturers increase profits, create and maintain jobs, and establish a foundation for long-term growth. Prior to assuming her role at the SBA, Thomas did work for us here at NIST MEP from January 2000 to November 2012. And during her tenure at NIST MEP was a member of the Marketing and Communications Office responsible for numerous branding initiatives. Carol has received numerous leadership and performance awards, including the Commerce Gold and Silver Medals, 3 NIST George A. Urano Awards for Outstanding Achievement. And prior to federal service, she worked in private and nonprofit sectors, and she holds a Bachelor of Science degree from Drexel and an MBA from Johns Hopkins. I'd like to welcome Carol Thomas to the podium.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Happy Manufacturing Day. That's the last time I get out my bio, because I don't want anybody to read it. It is so wonderful to see everyone here. I want you to look to your left and look to your right, because your passion for manufacturing today is going to be stoked, so you're going to tell at least 10 people how you feel about manufacturing and what manufacturing means. Today is a celebration of manufacturing, but it's not just a celebration of the industry. It's a celebration of the people. You're part of this. And New Jersey has one of the strongest manufacturing bases of all the 50 states. You really have a very wide and diverse, a lot of pharmaceutical, a lot of food processing, various different other types of manufacturing businesses. But this state employs 247,000 employees in manufacturing. And that in itself is phenomenal. Before I get into talking a little bit, I wanted to give you just a little bit of background about myself so you can understand who you have in front of you. I come from a family who worked in manufacturing, who's also been in manufacturing. And I had a small manufacturing business myself in the early 80s before the MEP program. My mom was actually from Belize, Central America. And in Belize, during the time when she was growing up, her parents had the largest bakery in the top part of the country. Now, Belize itself is a very, very small country. But at the time, my grandfather worked with lots of different people in the country to build a bakery that delivered goods out to the different villages in the country. There was also talk about taking, at the time, because this was in the mid to early 1900s, flight was just beginning, airplanes. He was going to take and deliver bread and all kinds of other goods across the ocean to other countries as well. He was thinking beyond that. On my father's side, he actually worked in the steel mills in Indiana and worked at a very young age understanding manufacturing and working with in the coal and the hot welding and different types of materials that the steel industry was having at the time. Both parents were what I would consider old manufacturing. This is now, we're defining manufacturing again. We're bringing it into not only the 21st century, but beyond. When I say look to your left and right, what I mean is that we are beginning the next great revolution in manufacturing. It has never gone away, just like John said. It has always been here, but now it is going to places that has never gone before. One of the things that I say, if you're a manufacturing business owner, if you're not taking advantage of the resources that are out there to help you, then you will be left behind in this next great revolution. How many of you here know about the New Jersey MEP program? Great. Those of you who don't need to know it, because this is a group of people, these are a group of people that can help you take your manufacturing business into this next great revolution. They are celebrating their 20 years in existence, and John Kennedy, who is the director of their program, is phenomenal in a way that he's very understated. He's not one of those that comes out and brags a lot, but he uses, through his people, to go out and talk to manufacturers out there, to work with them, listens to you, to what you need, connects you with valuable resources, connects you with other manufacturers. Because a lot of times, you're so into your businesses, you don't have an opportunity to go out and meet other manufacturers that may be able to help you. They may not necessarily be competing with you, you may be able to work together. They may be part of the same supply chain that you're part of. What I wanted to talk to you about this morning is not only to talk about New Jersey MEP, which is a proud recipient of our partnership, private-public partnership with the National Institute of Standards and Technology. But I wanted to talk to you about the future of manufacturing. Here in this room, I understand we have several high school students or students who will be participating in manufacturing tours. We also have students who are looking at manufacturing as a career. Even those of you who are not parents, but may be parents in the next couple of years, you should talk to your children about getting into manufacturing, because the way they go out and scout for basketball players, for baseball players, for football players, I believe they're going to have to do that in the future for manufacturers, because within the next 10 years, there is going to be such a need for employees, new people coming into manufacturing, that they're going to do exactly what John said, go into the grade schools, go into the high schools to start recruiting people, find the best and the brightest before their competition does. Because that's how important it's going to become, to find and new and great employees into manufacturing. Why is this? Why is this happening now? What's coming together? A lot of things are happening in manufacturing that people don't really realize. I read an article in the Harvard Business Review earlier this summer. The hearing aid industry in 500 days went from an industry that had manufacturers that were making pieces of the hearing aid to an industry that was using additive manufacturing, 3D printing to make hearing aids. So the manufacturers who were in the business of making hearing aids, in less than 2 years, a year and a half, are now new manufacturers that are making it in a different way. You don't hear about these things. These are happening as we go. There are, in my neighborhood, I live near University of Maryland in College Park. They have a plant there that's actually using 3D printing to make a car, an entire car, in one piece. They can do it in a couple of days, I think it's 48 hours. And they are printing cars right in my neighborhood. There's no longer a factory that you have to go to get this part and this part and this part. These are things that are happening underneath the surface. You hear a little bit about it, but you really know what's going on. There are things in photonics. There are areas of, even the maker movement is not really the maker movement. It's going from making a few things to making a lot of things through additive manufacturing, through digital manufacturing, in a short period of time with different types of skills. If you're not reading about it, if you're not getting into what's going on, you will be left behind what's really happening in manufacturing. So it is now the time for you to get out, and when you have an opportunity to reach out to the New Jersey MEP or some of your colleagues who have used them to find out what's really happening here so that I'm ahead of what's going on rather than behind what's going on. The part of the future of manufacturing that is most, I guess, that we're having most of the problem with, and I listened to Manufacturing Talk Radio yesterday with Brad Holcomb, is the confidence that people are having in what's going to happen in the future. Another study that was done, there were several different words put in front of people, and the word manufacturing did not give a positive response, because people are not really understanding what you all do. They're not understanding where you're going and what's happening in the field. The information from Brad was that manufacturing right now is in a sort of steady state, almost a soft state. And the reason is that this is happening is that people are not understanding what's happening in the future. The students that we have here who are interested in manufacturing, they are the future of what's going to happen. That's the long-term future. But short-term future, what's most important is that we get the word out that we believe, and we get other people to believe what's going on. One of the things that I have to do when I go around and talk to the different MEP centers across the country is that you are part of what's happening, and you need to not only talk to your clients, but have your clients talk to other people. So what I'm going to challenge everybody here to do today is to go out, reach out, and as I said, at least talk to 10 people about what you're doing in manufacturing and what you see the promise is in manufacturing, so that we can truly start the groundswell right here in New Jersey, right here in New Jersey. Because I think that there's enough of what's going on out there that will make a difference in what we're going to do in the future. I really appreciate being able to talk to you all this morning. And one of the other things I'd like to let you know is that we have two wonderful panels that are going to come up and talk to you about various different aspects of manufacturing. But again, listen to what they're saying. Be a part of this next great revolution. And before I finish, I'd like to ask the students who are here, who are, I say, the future of manufacturing, can you please stand up? Now, for the students, I'm going to say you need to talk to 25 different people. You need to get your parents involved in this as well. You need to understand that this is not just a job for you, but this is a career. Talk to some of the folks that are here exhibiting. Find out what they've done and what really getting into manufacturing means. It's not necessarily building things. You can be a computer programmer, you could be a cost accountant, you could be all different kinds of careers within manufacturing. But make sure that when you are part of a movement, that you bring in others with you. Bring your friends to talk about what you're doing. Because it's important that the manufacturers here today, business owners, find people that are good and qualified and interested, such as you all are. And I know we're going to hear from some of you all today, but I want to thank you again for the opportunity to talk to you. Please, if you're not connected with your Manufacturing Extension Partnership Program, do get connected with it, because if you're paying taxes, which you should be paying taxes, you're not using all of you're throwing your tax money away. Because part of your tax money is used to support the New Jersey Manufacturing Extension Partnership. So if you want to continue to throw away your money, fine. If you really want to utilize it and get what you can out of the New Jersey MEP, please make sure that you connect with them, or even before you connect with them, connect with one of their clients so that you can understand the types of services and what they offer. Thank you.
So those of you who haven't paid taxes, please see the table. John W. Kennedy. No. Thank you, Carol. It's important, and we were so excited to have her here, because what some of you guys don't know is that we use the national system ourselves. We connect when we can't find an answer, when some of you guys call about certain things. We'll connect with other MEPs in the area to try to find things, try to find programs, try to find experts. It's a great connection for us, and that's, very important. The young people that are here, Carol's correct about networking. You need to network, and not just on that device that's probably in your pocket or in your hand. You've actually got to speak to people, and that's very important. NJMEP has a lot of connections to a lot of different groups that we talk to. NJIT, Manufacturer NJ, Rutgers, CIANJ, NJBIA. When we don't have an answer for some of you guys, we'll call one of those guys and ask them, because that's important. And one person that I wanted to recognize too, and I was looking for him, and I see that Lenore and Frank are sitting right in front of me. We have a great board of trustees, and it's led by Frank Wyckoff, who's sitting here, and he gives a lot of his time and effort to our program and helps create the structure which helps you. So Frank, thank you. About a week and a half ago, I got a phone call on my cell, and I answered it, and it said, "Hi Tom, this is Corey." And like any engineer, I said, "Corey who?" And he says, "Oh, it's me, Cory Booker." That sounded great for me. And what he was calling was saying that he's going to be in DC and could not attend today, but he really wanted to be part of it. Last year, he was one of our keynotes. And he said, "Can I put together a quick video?" And he did. He put together a quick video. The quality isn't phenomenal, but the words are great. So we're going to play Senator Booker's words for you.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to say a few words on the 4th Annual National Manufacturing Day. I'm Cory Booker, and I'm going to start by thanking the New Jersey Manufacturing Extension Program and NJBIZ for the work that they do throughout the year and throughout our state, and specifically for putting on today's important program. I've had the great fortune in the past to be involved with the work. In fact, last year I was there as your keynote speaker. I'm glad that after that, we're allowing me to say a few more words this year. Look, I have come to understand that what you're doing in partnership with me often is so important. Number one, you're inspiring me, you're informing me, you're helping me frame my efforts on manufacturing in Washington, D.C. You know, manufacturing, we all know how critical it is to our economy. And we know the quality of jobs it provides, the middle-class jobs that it provides. You know, manufacturing has contributed decisively to the GDP growth of our nation. We've seen incredible growth since the recession. In fact, real manufacturing since 2009 has declined about 18%. So after a decade of manufacturing job loss from 2001 to 2011, we have seen the tide turn and actually seen manufacturing add more than 650,000 jobs since 2011. Manufacturing is back and getting stronger. The manufacturing sector has expanded consistently. In fact, last month, it was the 32nd consecutive month of growth and this upward trend. U.S. manufacturing creates quality jobs. It helps us to fuel strong exports and it drives innovation. I'm so proud to have a manufacturing focus down here in the Senate and found allies that have the same. We know, especially this time where we're seeing wage stagnation in the middle class, that on average, hourly wages for manufacturers are nearly $5 an hour higher than non-manufacturing jobs. This is an incredible boost to middle-class families. Across our state, we know that manufacturers are pulling such incredible weight when it comes to job growth and creation. Right now in New Jersey, manufacturing's employment provides about 250,000 direct jobs to New Jersey. It's contributing $39 billion to our state economic output. That is incredible. Now, I know that one of the best ways to equip manufacturers, in fact, when I talk to manufacturers, clearly one of the biggest needs is to make sure that workers are ready for the jobs of the future in manufacturing. You know, despite high unemployment, manufacturers are struggling to find workers for their jobs. According to a 2010 report from Georgetown University, their Center on Education and the Workforce, they saw that by 2018, the United States will face a shortage of workers with needed skills and credentials to be involved in manufacturing. This is a huge shortage of about 3 million workers. And so we need to start focusing on pathways to training our young people for those jobs. And that's why I focus so much on apprenticeship programs. We know that compared to our global competitors, apprenticeships are big. Germany and England have significantly more apprenticeships than we do, and we've got to change that. That's why I introduced the LEAP program, LEAP bill in Congress. It's actually my first piece of legislation that I introduced in partnership with my dear friend across the aisle, Tim Scott. This bill provides for economic empowerment by giving businesses tax credits so that they can hire apprenticeships. People can learn and earn while getting that training to be necessary for the jobs of today and the jobs of tomorrow. I also reintroduced the bill to deal with another issue, which is that just many of our manufacturers in this post-recession time still have a hard time getting access to capital. And so that's why I introduced a scale-up production bill that helps those manufacturers access capital. These things and more are what I'm involved with here in Washington, trying to focus on making sure that our nation does the right thing to create a climate and environment for manufacturing to boom. That means everything from making sure that we have incredible infrastructure in our nation and make sure our tax system isn't incentivizing the moving of jobs and manufacturing offshore. There is a lot of work to do, but I'm proud that I have partners like you, partners for progress, partners for growth, partners for job creation. Together I know we can do more, and I know that we can build manufacturing stronger and stronger in New Jersey. This will make our nation, our state, even more Jersey proud. So thank you again for the kind invitation. I wish I was with you there today, but I know you will have a very successful day. All the best.
Our keynote today is a gentleman who I've known for a while and have great admiration for and consider him a friend. And transplanted Madisonian. In fact, his son and my son went through high school together and played on some sports team together. And that's Dennis Bone. And I look at his CV, and it's hard to even, I can't even put all these words out there. You know, Dennis did a lot of work for Verizon. He's actually the president of New Jersey Verizon, and but it's the other stuff that gets me engaged when I look at all the, you know, the programs that he was part of, that he helped New Jersey, Economic Development Transition, Choose New Jersey, NJ Chamber of Commerce. He's worked a lot with NJIT, as we all have. Liberty Science Center, which is one of my favorite places. And these are the amazing things that he brings to the table that I don't think a lot of people even understand. His latest gig is with the Montclair State University. He's the director of the Feliciano Center for Entrepreneurship. Dennis is working on some tremendous stuff with 3D printing and how to get entrepreneurs and makers connected. And that is really, important stuff for us. I will say that he's a graduate of West Virginia U Institute of Technology with a BS degree in mathematics. I like that STEM program. And also an MBA, from Rutgers, and another MS degree from Johns Hopkins. And Dennis holds a top secret federal government clearance. That scares me, but I did it one time too, so that just scared you. So I'd like to announce my friend Dennis Bone.
It's a pleasure to be here. Good morning, everybody. And so I'm not quite sure what hat to wear. Thanks, John, for all the work that you do. I am certainly a cheerleader for the manufacturing community in New Jersey. One of the hats I wear, I'm chair of the State Employment Training Commission. That's the federal designated agency for New Jersey that oversees workforce policy. And we're the ones working with LWD that has created the 7 talent networks, including advanced manufacturing as one of those. And the reason that we created talent networks and the reason that advanced manufacturing is one of those is because the labor statistics in job growth, which you've heard through Senator Booker's comments, through Carol's comments, it is a growing field. It is one of the industry sectors where we want to use workforce dollars, precious workforce dollars that come into the state from the federal government or are generated by the state. And these are the industries that we have singled out that we want to train workers for. And that's a little bit of a theme that's running through here. But I cannot say more about that when we look at the future, advanced manufacturing is going to be a hot area. So in my career, organizations that I've run, organizations that I've been a part of, I've watched disruption take place over and over and over again. As you know, there's many industries that survive, or companies that survive as they're being disrupted by technology, by market forces, by globalization. And certainly manufacturing in this country, if you look at its history, has had huge rises and huge falls, and now it's going back up again. But the winners and losers are always defined by, in my opinion, one thing: how innovative are they? How they read the tea leaves and decide and sense the changes that are taking place, and then decide how to adapt to those changes. Because you can take certain industries and certain companies will die, others will thrive. Because with change comes opportunity, with change comes threats too. So when I look at manufacturing and advanced manufacturing and look at how technology and globalization market forces are changing the manufacturing sector, I think I probably, like you, share the feeling that the future is bright. And especially using additive manufacturing, 3D printing, and all of the other digital technologies around it. So I'm going to focus a bit on 3D printing. I run an entrepreneurship center up at Montclair State University in the business school, although our programs are for every student on campus. So looking at how 3D printing and additive manufacturing are changing everything, we decided that we would create our own 3D print lab in Montclair State University, in the business school. And I want you to come see it. So what we have right now as a starting point is 35 3D print devices. They ride on a really robust digital network that's connected to the cloud. So I could be sitting right here printing to the 3D network, to this 3D lab up at Montclair. So when you think about what the possibility of that is, it opens all sorts of doors. So we're talking with high schools about having classes on the high school where they actually print to the lab. We're talking, and one of the parts of the business model is to work with manufacturers, work with you guys. I think that's why John invited me, to talk a little bit about this and talk about potential partnerships. Because in my view, I definitely want to partner with NJ MEP, on this resource. But it's just amazing what's happening here. I mean, I was chatting with some of the folks outside. We had 2 or 3 3D printers out there that I saw, and I was chatting with the folks. But it's incredible kind of innovation and what can be printed. NASA's printing food for the space station. Print food, proteins, sugars, print. Healthcare is being just really changed by this. Doctors are printing tissue, soft tissue. They're printing hearts. They're printing ears. They're printing hands. Printing sternums. Now there's certain operations where you have to break the sternum instead of whatever the healing process was before. There's printing a new sternum. Picatinny, huge treasure for us right here. Armin, they have a ton of 3D printers up there. And it's not just the print. 3D printing to me is not about the 3D printer or that print that comes out. Actually, I have a prop in here. So here's a little ball bearing structure, right? This is printed with a printer with 2 filaments. And when this was printed, it looked just like a solid flat surface. But you dip it into water and one of those filaments will dissolve in the water and it leaves this. So you can play around and do all sorts of really innovative things. So to me, it's about creativity. It's about design thinking. It's like, what problem can I solve? And it's about iteration. And that's what we like about our lab is it's rapid prototyping. So you can scan something, print it, change it, print it again, print it again, print it again. Now, we don't have the big industrialized printers. We have 4 kinds of printers in our shop. And the filament, we can print in different filaments. But for what we do, plastic works fine, because what we're doing is prototyping and design. And it's low cost, and it's quick, and it works. Then when you get the part or the gadget that you really want to go print, now you're not going to do that in my lab. You're going to do that someplace else, by your own printer and, print it in titanium or something. But at the university level, this is catching on. It's like fire. We put this print lab in over the summer. Before classes started, there's a student came in and said, I see you're creating this 3D print lab. She said, does anybody talk to you about creating a 3D print club on campus? No. He said, if I were to create the club, would you sponsor it? Would you have to have sponsorship for student clubs? He comes back like 2 weeks later, and he says, I have 75 students already signed up for the 3D print club. He comes back last week, and he says, now I'm over 100. It is just catching fire. So what we're doing, we're letting them use our 3D print lab, and they're teaching themselves to print, and they're teaching themselves to design. And that is part of the maker movement that is going on around the country. So I don't know how we harness all this creativity and this interest by students, but I tell you, I think with the folks in this room, we certainly can do that. So my invitation, and I'm going to work through John and MEP, is put on workshops, come up, workshops that we can, help introduce you to. Many of you already use 3D printing. You're experts at it. But I'm hoping to touch small companies who should be exploring 3D printing, but who are not, because they're simply not exposed to it. And they don't see really how easy it is and how transforming it could potentially be for their customers and their company. So with that, I will be quiet, but John, thanks for the offer to address you guys this morning. I'm very excited to see some of the technology that's out there. I'm very happy for what you do. And again, as a talent network, I think we're off to the races here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. Well, it gets to the fun part now, the awards. We do have a few awards, 3 awards actually, small, medium, and large. I'm going to handle first off, the small and medium awards. Today we celebrate New Jersey's manufacturing companies for their outstanding accomplishments in helping the Garden State's manufacturing community grow and prosper. These companies have a direct effect on the economic growth and stability of the state as a whole. New Jersey is fortunate to work in a manufacturing community that's home to many forward-thinking companies, a lot of them that are here. We salute not only these companies and individuals who have skillfully led their company's growth not only in the short term, but in the long term. Now, deciding which companies to be on today is not easy. These outstanding companies were elected from a highly qualified field, a great pool of candidates. And we had an independent panel of judges, not affiliated with NJBiz, to select this year's honorees. I would like to present the honor of our judges this year. Number 1 was Guy Cipriano, who's the president of EI Associates. Guy's here. Our other judge was Kevin Lyons. He's the associate professor, Department of Supply Chain Management and Marketing Science, Rutgers School of Business, Supply Chain Archaeology, Rutgers Center for Supply Chain Management. That's a lot of supply chains. And Ray McCarron, who's the director of Manufacturing IT Talent Network at the New Jersey Institute of Technology. Thank you very much for all your help in going over and selecting our finalists today. Let's give a round. I find them once and it's a lot of work and I never hear from them again, so thank you very much for doing it. So now on to the awards. We will first recognize the Manufacturer of the Year for small and mid-sized companies. Later in the program, as I mentioned, we'll recognize the large-sized companies and the special categories that we have. I would ask that each finalist in the category is announced, that a company representative come forward to the awards table on my left, right over here, to receive the award and have a photo taken with one of our sponsors. Then enter the stage and wait to the side of the stage until all finalists have been recognized. After honoring each finalist, we will announce the winner for that category, at which point we would like that individual to return to the stage for another award presentation and a photo. Presenting the awards will be Alan Wilson with Cone Resin. Alan, would you come up to the stage? All right, I'll get right into the awards. Our first category is Manufacturer of the Year for small-sized companies. Here are your finalists. Staying ahead of the curve has been Applied Image's secret to success since opening stores 16 years ago. Committed to researching and implementing the latest technologies, the manufacturing company has earned a reputation for being an innovator and leader in the field of architectural and environmental graphics. Based in Freehold with 34 employees, its clientele spans from coast to coast within the museum, financial, healthcare, institutional, and corporate sectors. Today, with sound footing in place, the company continues to grow and expand. In the past year alone, it added an in-house installation department and an e-commerce department. In addition to its commitment to creating a positive and healthy work environment for employees, the company is also dedicated to supporting its local communities through fundraising and volunteering efforts. Applied Images. Okay, so we speed this up. As soon as I mentioned the name of the company, just come on up. You didn't know that, so. Founded nearly 70 years ago, Centro Incorporated and its team of nearly 30 employees take great pride in knowing that its products are used around the world in applications ranging from medical and aerospace to industrial and robotics. Armed with a continued focus on expansion, the company recently made the strategic decision to increase revenue by improving infrastructure, methods, and processes. In just the past year, it has invested in new products, an updated marketing plan, a refocused sales program, new engineering software, a strong social media presence, and a fresh talent to apprentice with its skilled staff. The company also continues to roll out lean initiatives, which have resulted in faster product completion times and more manufacturing capacity, as well as quicker delivery and 100% on-time shipping. Centrico Incorporated. Wiped out by Hurricane Sandy 3 years ago, City Theatrical Incorporated is a shining example of a business that overcame adversity to become bigger and better than ever. Founded in 1986, the company invents, manufactures, and customizes unique lighting accessories that are found on stages all over the world, including Broadway, major motion pictures, and television studios. Faced with huge losses in 2012 after the storm, the company decided to switch directions and move into LED lighting. It wasn't long before it had developed new products that were commanded by TV studios and live events, including the new Tonight Show. With an increase in demand for its products, City Theatrical recently invested in building a new circuit board manufacturing lab and implemented a company-wide training program to grow the skills of nearly 40-person staff. City Theatrical Incorporated. With its roots dating back more than a century, Cox Printers has remained at the forefront of an industry thanks to an unwavering commitment to its employees, the environment, and delivering a great product. Armed with the motto, family first then work, Cox promotes a flexible work environment that is not only kid-friendly, but dog-friendly as well. Additionally, all employees are cross-trained, whether on a new piece of equipment or a new software program. Always thinking outside the box when it comes to green initiatives, the company recently hosted a Honey Harvest Expo, complete with a live demonstration on how to harvest honey from the hives located in its green roof. Cox also has plans to purchase an additional solar panel, set up an electric car charging station, and install a rainwater retrieval system. Cox Printers. Celebrating its 20th year in business, Premier Compaction Systems currently provides expert service for all phases of the waste equipment industry in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, and northeastern Pennsylvania region. Over the years, the company has expanded its client base to include retail, manufacturing, condo, and apartment complexes, schools, hospitals, supermarkets, and nursing homes. To best meet the needs of its clients, PCS has developed a skilled staff of 25 employees, including repair experts, preventive maintenance specialists, metal fabricators, and installation and design engineers. The company recently expanded its fleet of service vehicles, as well as sustainable green programs. Recognizing that happy employees equal happy customers, PCS regularly rewards associates hard work with bonuses, paid time off, sporting event tickets for the entire family. Premier Compaction Systems. And the winner of the Manufacturer of the Year small category is City Theatrical Incorporated. Congratulations. Okay. Our next category is Manufacturer of the Year for medium-sized companies. And here's your finalists. Long recognized for providing safe, quality, and sustainable surgical devices and medical products to the healthcare industry, Case Medical recently decided to expand its manufacturing capabilities. Over the past, it has invested in upgrading operations and acquiring more technologically advanced equipment and personnel, and increasing its workforce by 15% by adding a second shift. In addition to providing its team of 100+ employees with development and on-the-job training opportunities, the company believes in nurturing the next generation of workers. As a result, it regularly engages interns from local colleges and technical schools, many of whom are now dedicated employees. Looking ahead, the company plans to develop new products and focus on continuous improvement. Case Medical. As a leading manufacturer of modular precision grinding machines for a variety of industries, Gelbar Company has brought jobs, growth, technology, and opportunity to New Jersey over the past 63 years. Having enjoyed a banner year, the manufacturer enjoyed double-digit sales, as well as a 68% increase in employee headcount. According to company leaders, one of the best decisions recently made was to consolidate its 3-location Franklin Lakes into one larger, state-of-the-art headquarters and manufacturing facility in Ramsey. As a result, the company has been able to better streamline its processes, implement lean manufacturing practices, foster revenue growth, improve inventory control, while at the same time giving its customers a world-class experience and its employees a better work environment. Geldar Company. With a focus on people, passion, performance, and protection, Johns Manville has created what many refer to as the JM Experience. In addition to providing training to developing associates' capabilities, JM developed these core values to foster a passion to serve customers, perform as leaders in the industry, and act as responsible members of the community. Adding to this, Johns Manville made a strategic decision last year to invest heavily in its New Jersey-based Zestron PVC fitting cover business for operational improvements and development of manufacturing personnel. As a result, the PVC business has recognized its higher sales growth and productivity. Taking a long-term view on business, the company is committed to sustained profitable growth and making the necessary investments to achieve its business objectives. Johns Manville. Versa Products Company, Incorporated, recently honored a team member who retired after 50 years of service. Founded in 1948, the company takes pride in the fact that more than 20% of its 160 team members have been on board more than 20 years, a true testament to its culture. The company is also committed to continuously improving operations, facility efficiency, and financial performance, which provide Versa resilience against economic volatility. Most recently, the manufacturer has implemented initiatives to both protect the environment and to reduce costs, while also launching new products to strengthen its position within energy markets. Thanks to all these improvements, Versa has transformed from a tire manufacturer into a superior, innovative competitor. Versa Products Company, Incorporated. And the winner in the Manufacturer of the Year Medium Companies is Versa Products Company, Incorporated. Well, congratulations to all the finalists and Versa. Those are our first two awards. We'll have our longest panel a little bit later, our panel. We'll bring up our first panel right now. Gary, Zudi, and your group, would you make your way to the stage? We'll have a panel now. There'll be a Q&A. I'll grab a microphone and kind of walk around the room once you're ready to chat, okay? So just wave and some of you walk around. Give the other panel come on up.
Good morning. My name is Gary Kazuki, and I thank NJM for inviting me to moderate the panel. With apologies, one of our panelists last moment was not available, but we've got two great panelists, and I'm going to ask that they introduce themselves first. Tell us a little bit about your backgrounds.
Good morning, my name is Jonathan Moore. I'm the Director of Talent Acquisition for L'Oreal USA, specializing in manufacturing and supply chain. I've been in the recruiting and staffing industry for 17 years, and I'm talking about opportunities for hiring clients.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tarek Shayabatian. I'm a junior studying industrial engineering at Rutgers University. My prior internship experience has been at Paramount Metal Finishing, a company that I had the good fortune of interning with thanks to NJEP. And I'll be talking about the flip side of what Jonathan will be talking about in terms of how we can bring millennials into the workforce today.
Thank you so much. Again, my name is Gary Pazui. My background consists of attending the University of South Vietnam School of Infantry, majored in chaos and panic. Came back and not being able to find employment, somebody offered me a job at an employment agency as a career counselor. He trained me, and that was 43 years ago. I don't know what my candidates do. I know how to find positions for them. That's my role. This is going to be interactive, so what we'd like to have is some hands and questions. This is not meant to be the end-all, be-all answer to hiring millennials and retaining women. Hopefully we'll create some thoughts, get you to think some things, maybe do some additional research, and I'm sure the panelists and myself will make ourselves available anytime if we can be of help. So why don't we begin? John, we'll begin with you. With your background with L'Oreal and dealing with women and millennials, what are you finding today that's different than we saw 10 years ago, and how should we go forward?
That's a good question. I think today, in hiring millennials, and I think, female perspective, hiring women, we're very lucky at L'Oreal. Our industry and products we produce, we're about 50-50. In operations and manufacturing, which I think is pretty incredible. But I think, in the last 10 years, what has changed is the way we perceive work. What I mean by that is, it's not necessarily just coming in and doing a job from 9 to 5 or 8 to 5. It's much more of a robust process in how we address it. People work from home, working off hours, addressing issues and solving problems in new and different ways. So in that, as we address the idea of bringing the millennials in a new thought process, because the world is changing and we want to make sure we're a part of it. So.
Tarek Shia, as a student, as a millennial, with all these old people here, what is it that you're looking for, what your group is looking for, what's it that you need to get you interested?
So I think that the first main concern primarily with attracting our generation is that there's an extreme lack of awareness in terms of what opportunities are available to us in the manufacturing industry and in the industry in terms of engineering in general. I think one of the main things that's there is social media. Somebody brought up sitting on our phones all the time. I mean, that time can be put to good use. We can be reading about your companies, what your firms do, what are all the different opportunities that are available to us. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you. I did a little bit of research, and one thing I found numerous times is that in the next 19 years, 10,000 baby boomers are going to retire at 65. It's going to go on for 19 more years. The vacuum that's being created, the opportunities that are available are phenomenal, especially in manufacturing. So with that said, let's see if we get a question from the audience. This is where you participate, folks. This is interactive. Sir.
So the question is, knowing that workforce now is towards millennials, towards people who are, in a sense, working all the time on their smart device rather than showing up for a job, which technology is very old. What do you guys see as the future enabling that workforce and the owners of the companies who now are spread out all over the place to still act as a family company, which usually is what allows a company to grow? My background, my father was a manufacturer of beef wholesale, but the idea was, it was a small family operation, did very well in the 70s and 80s, but he knew what the employees were doing and where they were because it was a different environment. In today's day and age, everybody, as you said, is on their smart device. You have them 24/7, so there's an advantage to that, to bring your own device. So with that, and manufacturing is still producing something, you need sales, you need to get out the word as to what you're doing. What tools do you see, and I'm repeating myself because I didn't have the mic. What tools do you foresee that you need to equip owners with? What do you see as a structure base that you need to do to allow that company to still act as one company and not lose what the information that's going on Are people making their calls? You know, what are the metrics, this sort of thing? What do you guys see?
Thank you. Good question.
I think that the first thing, somebody had brought up digital manufacturing and additive manufacturing, how we are using computer-aided design to create parts, tooling, all the different things, and eliminate some supply chain problems that we have in our manufacturing businesses. I'd like to go a step further and suggest cloud manufacturing. Today, the major tools that we have are in the cloud, internet-based, things like AutoCAD. Companies like AutoCAD have created online programs such as AutoCAD 360, which allow us to do work in real time, and that work can be viewed by the owners, by managers, anywhere along the field, and then also enable them to really, step back and say, okay, well, I know that, my worker is doing their work because I can see it online. I can see what changes they've made. I can also go back and create the provision history of that. So I think that's a great way of enabling, both our generation and, older folks as well. I think that, there's a fairly shorter learning curve with, cloud-based tools such as, Google Drive and Google tools. There's Microsoft. There's all kinds of different things that are coming up today that are becoming very effective in how we do work that can also bridge the generation gap as well.
John, from the inside, how's L'Oreal handling it?
That's a great question. So we use a lot of cloud-based technology. Various CRM tools, you mentioned from the sales perspective, ERP technologies. Things are done more remotely now than ever. We have people in New Jersey who are managing facilities in Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil. It's a situation in which now the world is global, and you have to use technology available to you to reach those people, so you can't be there every day. Obviously, you still need to have that connection. You need to go there and visit, because manufacturing, in my opinion, is a people business. You have to have that face-to-face communication, those face-to-face interactions. But we have to utilize the technology that's available to us. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Another question over here.
We found that we're hiring positions in accounting or sales or management, that we often have to choose between tech savvy and manufacturing experience. We found it very difficult to find anybody who has a lot of manufacturing experience that also is up to date with technology. Where do we go to find these people?
Great question. That's the age-old, that's the million-dollar question. I think when it comes to hiring people, number one, in my opinion, you've got to hire for culture first. Culture's got to be number one. Everyone's got a different culture, everyone believes in different things, but if you find those people that align with that, that's going to be your first step. Finding the necessary technical skills to mesh with that is where things get very challenging, and where you're going to be flexible to find people. The employment market is changing drastically, as Gary mentioned. People are retiring, but people are leaving the workforce, people are coming into the workforce, so there's definitely a sweet spot of individuals who have the specific talent, skill that they're looking for. So I'm not sure what sort of strategy you're using as far as if you're working with an internal recruiting team, if you're working with an agency, if you're for HR people who are still managing the recruiting process. But talk to as many people as you can, interview people, hire for culture, train for skill. I think that's the best methodology. Does that answer your question at all? Someone? What else can I elaborate?
Can you possibly think of any colleges that are cross-training people in accounting and manufacturing, or cross-training in marketing and manufacturing? There seems to be a lot of colleges that are training people in supply chain management and industrial engineering, but those schools might not pay well for business schools.
And I think with that, I would be targeting more of the technical schools. I would look at Stevens and GIT here locally, Rutgers. And I think with that, what you can potentially do is reach out to some of the local professors in those schools, maybe people who are teaching those cost accounting finance classes, and figure out what sort of classes those students might be taking to cross-train. Someone's taking an industrial engineering course or something from that perspective, mixing it with finance. That's a unique mix of what you're looking for. That's the way, that's why it's hard. But I think that might be a good option for you.
As a recruiter, on the other side, I'm a placement, what I found is so often a firm will have a specific specific idea. They'll have a job description that is written by 27 people. It's a wish list, it's a dream sheet, and sometimes not quite realistic. I've seen great talent with passion overlooked because they lack a specific degree in whatever the discipline is. So as a recruiter, my advice is to talk and attract people with passion. If they have passion, if they want to learn, if they are committed, you are talented enough to teach them whatever your processes are, or whatever your projects are. I say look for the passion first. The talent will develop along the way.
I'd like to also add to that. You had mentioned that you're looking to attract millennial talent that has that's in multidisciplinary areas. One of the things that I, as a student, have seen is that many professional organizations can fill this need. I personally am a part of a business fraternity as president of another professional organization. There are other student leaders around the room and elsewhere at all kinds of universities that can fulfill this need. You can actually go out to certain organizations, certain business organizations that are multidisciplinary. For example, like Alpha Kappa Psi, which is a co-ed professional business fraternity, and you can essentially ask them as a company, reach out to them and say, can you come and host a professional event for us? We're looking for this, seeking to fill this position. And us as members, as students, leaders, have extra incentive and extra motivation to work with your company because it helps us act as an intermediary between you as a company and our student body. So we're motivated at both ends because we want our organization to grow on campus as well as on campus with companies such as yourselves.
Thank you. There's a question back there.
Is there a mic anywhere? Because I probably won't be heard. Can you hear me?
Not so much.
All right, so here comes.
The microphone will meet you halfway.
I'll be happy to have that. Thank you. Earlier this morning, our keynote speaker, Dennis Bone, mentioned the New Jersey Advanced Manufacturing Talent Network. I want to answer that question. I am from NJIT, and I've had the privilege of hosting that talent network for the last 4 years for the state. And I would suggest that I think we have a table outside, so the question of where you can find talent, those people at that table can help you. But to answer it here in front of all of you, there are enormous number of programs going on across the state that are starting in high school, particularly the career and technical education high schools in our state. I'll mention in Hudson County, in Bergen County, in Gloucester. It's across the state. They are specifically training, educating youngsters in advanced manufacturing, particularly, for example, in mechatronics. These youngsters will come out with partnering with community colleges in our state, so go for an associate's degree, and we have been building a pathway for those who you hire and then give a salary if they wish to go on to the Rutgers, to the NJIT, to the Stevens on a part-time basis, so they can work for you now, but still continue to learn and do more advanced jobs as you change your companies. So I just wanted to add, this is what the Talent Network does in the state of New Jersey. So please take advantage of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Was there another question over here? Sir.
Yes, good morning. My name is Mike Swords. I am in the technology business. But to answer that question this gentleman here raised, the question that was raised earlier, there is a distinct answer to this issue. In the atmosphere and environment of the larger technology companies, the largest growing segment of their business is addressing the issue of mobility, let me say, mobile technology. And that technology is available to small, medium, and large companies. Technology has been addressed because more and more of the organizations, regardless of size, personnel, both corporate and more time in the field, because if you're trying to resolve issues from your customers, the issues your customers are aware of is technology. Technology is not expensive. It's easily you can be trained in this technology. The company that you're going to address, there's major corporations out there. We're all familiar with Amazon Web Services, Status, the IBM Corporation, and there's a number of them. They are trained and going into any size company, discussing the plans, the number of people that are in the field, and the number of the people in the field is not necessarily I work at home type of thing. More and more organizations are opening up small branch offices, not only in this country, but in Europe. All of that can be addressed very easily today with networking. Networking can go across this country, and it is extremely inexpensive where you have contact. They allow the employees bring your own. That's bring your own phone, whatever the mobile device. That mobile device can be reached very easily, very inexpensively. The training, keeping the reports, all this information should be kept online. It's not a big deal anymore. The employee out there in front of the customer asks a question. Out comes his mobile device, and that question is answered right on the spot at the backlog, on the pricing, where lots of my equipment gets shipped on time, what's the story here. I need a better price. The answer is phone right there.
Thank you.
I am in the business, so obviously I'm interested in something.
Thank you so much. Regarding manufacturing, John, how does manufacturing experience set aside EWIT? How does that help or hurt the family?
Well, for us, it always helps. We've got 5 production facilities here in the U.S. We're always looking at that specific manufacturing experience, ideally, whether it's in production or processing or maintenance, quality, what have you. However, there are indications when we're going to look at a candidate who doesn't have that experience, but we're going to bring people in. A lot of times we're going to bring millennial type candidates, recent graduates. We're going to train them, or someone who's coming in as a temp to work on a production line or what have you. We'll train them and get them up to speed from that standpoint. But it really depends on the job and the need of the business at the time.
I think that one of the main things as millennials that we're realizing by gaining manufacturing experience, particularly with smaller to mid-sized firms, is the impact of what we're doing. If we make a change or a process improvement to one of the lines or to one of the parts, that change could be reflected in $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 in additional cost savings. And that to us is very inspiring. We as millennials, we like a good challenge, and that kind of challenge where we can add to the bottom line of the company or the firm that we're working for, we can say, oh, I contributed to that. I was a part of that. And that in itself can be a very, very rewarding experience, especially in terms of manufacturing, in terms of small and mid-sized firms.
Very often, when I speak publicly, as last week I was up in New England, Boston, Portland, and Ottawa, Canada. I spoke to, at 6 colleges, 7 different student groups. And one of the things I try and stress is the importance of manufacturing. Again, from the placement industry, somebody with manufacturing is a lot more attractive to any of the other industries. That would be the top of the pyramid, if you will. Manufacturing experience gives an individual that broad understanding of all the aspects of business. Yes, there's accounting, there's finance, there's marketing, and all the other activities, but it takes place all in-house or at least remotely with contract manufacturers. So one of the things that I stress with my client base is during the interview, talk about the importance, the education that they're going to get. They're going to understand all of the different processes involved in a manufacturing concern. This is what's going to make them valuable going forward. This is what's going to keep them marketable. So although you may not retain every individual you hire, you're going to enhance the pool of candidates out there. Here's a number for you that I found recently, is that college students today will hold 14 jobs by the age of 38. It's happening, folks. The young people are not going to stay put and treading water like my generation did. If you're not challenging them, if they're not growing, in their toolbox, they're going to leave. So it becomes your responsibility and your role to keep them challenged, to know what they need, know what they're looking for, be in touch with them, and it's that word, communication. End of speech. More questions? What else can we answer right now? Yes?
Gary, I'm Al Sandler.
Hold on one second.
Gary, I'm Al Sandler from ESG Executive Search. We're in the same business. And you mentioned something very interesting that I think could be an opportunity for the audience, is that oftentimes a job ad or a job description is a wish list. Have you found it effective to document what an individual potential candidate would be expected to accomplish quantitatively and qualitatively in their first 6 months or first year of employment?
As a recruiter, yes, that's always an advantage when a candidate can present what they're looking for, what they hope to do, hope to accomplish. But again, from the company side, as an employer, so your employers here, those are things that you want to be prepared to answer in depth. Okay, let's go back to Tarek Shayab. What specifically do you want to hear from an employer as a candidate?
So I think one of the main things, again, like you said, mentioning the challenges. Those challenges can be either quantitative or qualitative. Again, I mentioned, some of the numbers that I talked about. One of the projects I had was I had 5 cents a part to my employer's bottom line per part, added up to $50,000 a month. That's kind of qualitative, numbers that I can add to my resume and, eventually show off to bigger companies or different companies, regardless of where I end up. Another thing is decentralized management, I think, is becoming a very big thing now, especially in the startup culture that we have today. Having a hierarchy that, while hierarchy is very, very good, sometimes having a culture that fosters growth and creativity without limiting because of that hierarchy can be very beneficial to us as well. Things like that they may not necessarily be completely decentralized, but they may also have a very open culture to discussing with you one-on-one, for example, okay, how can I succeed with your company? How can I, make a change? We want to see the impact of what we're doing, and if we see that in potential employers, we're going to flock, because that's what we see. That's what we seem to see in bigger companies, and because of that big brand name, because it's Deloitte or something like that. Just giving an example, we become drawn to that, but we can also just as easily be drawn to that at a smaller firm that we may just have not heard of. They're just to our loss, not to a potential employer. Does that answer your question, sir?
Well, I think it's very valuable. Just, Jeff, what I was getting at was from the employer side, really delineating as often as you can an ad or a job description, what you want that candidate to accomplish. Because sometimes there is a disconnect. He said sometimes it becomes a wish list. A wish list isn't as effective in communicating what you're trying to accomplish with that hire. Sometimes, listen, hiring is not a perfect process. Anybody who's hired anybody knows that. So you have to look at that individual and let them communicate to them what you're expecting them to accomplish once they land that job.
Let's have Jonathan answer that question.
That's a great question. So what we've tried to do with that is kind of be creative as we post jobs, as we network with candidates. We've done videos, we've shared audio files, showing not what the job requirements are, but what you're going to be doing. Right? This is what this job is. As a supervisor, you're going to be responsible for X, Y, and Z. This is the interactions that you're going to have. This is what you're going to be responsible for. Safety, quality, efficiency. These are basic KPIs. And I think that, from a millennial perspective, is that really attractive. It shows the challenges and it shows the engagement from the company to really help them come along, develop, and learn about the business and industry.
One of the things that I've learned, and we see again and again, is continuing education. I'm a part of APIX. I actually sit on 3 different board of directors for 3 different chapters. And it's all about continuing education. As an employer, something that you want to really consider deeply, okay, is continuing education for your employees. Or if you don't train them, okay, somebody else just might. But if you can talk about the different opportunities that a new employee will have, and lay out some of the different organizations they can join, be it APIX or IEEE or whatever the professional organization, And these are some of the certifications that we talked to you about. And these are some of the challenges that we're going to look for you to accomplish. And if you decide to go on to your master's, these are some of the studies that we think would be helpful and to continue your growth with this company. If you can talk in the future, if you can begin to paint that dream, because every candidate has a dream, okay, and it's not always to be CEO, they have a dream. If you can begin to help them paint that, you're going to attract a lot more quality and a lot more passionate individuals. Let's have another question.
I'm also a professional at Apex, along with Mary, and I ditto everything that you said. As a president of Northern New Jersey chapter of Apex, the question is, I've been at many roundtables and seminars along this line where they say the students are very smart, but they graduate and there's really a gap between the classroom, even doing co-ops and internships, and when they hit the floor for their first job. Is there something that we're missing, that we're not providing? We're trying to get into the schools earlier and earlier to be able to expose students to various programs, workshops, tours, that kind of thing. Is there a gap? Is there something that we're missing with regard to getting them from the classroom onto the shop floor or into the office that we need to do better to close that gap?
That's a good question. Jonathan, you want to feel that one?
I'll do my best. It's an interesting question, and I think it's a situation now whereas the market and the employment demographics are now shifting. Millennials are the largest part of our workforce, and in the past we've asked them to adapt to our culture and the way that we've always done things. And now it's a situation where we're going to have to adapt more to what their needs are, their desires are, and how we do this. So whether that's through, Gary mentioned 14 jobs in 10 years, however long it is, rapid, not only promotion, but rapid job change, having them, that sense of accomplishment, keeping that engagement going. They're not going to be happy sitting at a desk and doing a job or whatever for 10 years. They need that engagement and make that change. So it's a shift, and it's a big shift, and it's going to hit us all, and we need to know how we're going to handle it. So I don't think really a true answer to your question, but we just have to adapt more. I think we as leaders, owners of companies need to be more open to change as they have been open to change with us. So.
You just completed an internship with a small manufacturing company. What was it that they did right, and what could they have done better?
So to give a quick background on the company before I answer your question, to give some context here, I worked at a third-party military contractor that dealt with the painting and plating of ordnance. So that's just a quick background on that. That being said, Paramount is a small manufacturer. The team there is quite excellent. They do a great job. They did a great job of assimilating me into that culture. One of the great things that they did was they made sure that I was on task, and they made sure to check in with me very frequently. It was a much smaller team, and that allowed them to really engage with me and help me learn and help me grow as both a professional and an individual. That being said, because it's a small company, resources tend to be limited. There is obviously a bigger company that just has more money, more finances, more people, more overall resources to be going on with, that can be leveraged, not only within the company, but outside the company as well. The experiences will also vary. When I was at Paramount, I was able to wear many different hats, from accounting, finance, pure engineering side of actually going out on the line, working in the field, quality control, audits, all different kinds of experiences. At a larger company, you're responsible for a very in-depth portion of a very small, specific role that you have to be very, very, very good at and very, very effective at. So those are some of the kind of differences. Those are some of the advantages of smaller versus larger companies. Does that answer the question?
Yes, I think that's perfect. One of the things that as small firms, for the most part, we have a lot of small firms here, becomes your responsibility to know what it is your strengths are. Some of the advantages of manufacturing, I teach candidates to create a very broad foundation. If the foundation is very, very broad, they can then build their career in a lot of different ways, and it will continue to grow upward. It's when it's a very narrow foundation, as a candidate, as an employee wants to begin to expand, it gets a little shaky there. These are the things that you as employers can offer. You can talk about during the interviews. Another thing that comes to mind is during that interview process, in that screening process, how many of you have a millennial sitting in the interview? because they know themselves. They know who they are, they know how they think. And I strongly recommend in every interview process, have one or two millennials sit in. As a trainee, as just an observer, as a participant, in any way that you're comfortable, they can give you tremendous feedback that people of at least my generation wouldn't pick up on at all. I wouldn't know if someone was fudging a technical question. I'm not technical, just an idea. Questions? Yes?
Can you hear me? Okay. This is, I'm Ray McGarry. I'm the director of the Manufacturing J Talent Network. And I heard you talk about certifications before. We're undergoing a study right now in the state to determine what certifications manufacturers require so that we can focus on them and develop the training throughout the state. So I asked the panel if they have any suggestions on manufacturing credentials or certifications, and also maybe even IT, because IT cuts across all industries. Are there any IT certifications that manufacturing would be interested in? So I can tell you from our experience, we are constantly looking for performance improvement certifications, whether it be in Lean, Six Sigma, 5S, TPM, things along those lines, as well as quality certifications in ASQ, certifications in APICS, certifications in environment, health, and safety. I mean, there's a number, depending on the function you're going. But I don't think there's one general thing that we always look for. It really gets very, to kind of Gary's point, it's very specific to the skill set you're looking for and trying to hire for.
In terms of applications, I can speak from a student's perspective that I've taken the Lean Six Sigma certification as a green belt. I'm a green belt certified, and I found that that has helped a great deal in my job search, and particularly in fulfilling the needs of employers, because it provides a very broad spectrum and a very good introduction to the principles that are used in manufacturing design.
Very good, thanks. Just for the rest of the audience, we have a table here, Manufacturing J Talent Network, and we're going to be having a meeting in the next few weeks to actually get manufacturers together to decide what certifications are important. If you're interested in participating, please see me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Again, I can speak as a recruiter in the supply chain area. Okay, I'd much rather see an APIC certification than a master's. And that shocks a lot of people. It shows the candidate has practiced. Okay, yes, theory is good. We love theory, and that's great background and fortitude. But an APIC certification means they know the in-depth aspect of it, which is not to in any way degrade the master's program, an SMBA, whatever it is. But they are more marketable as a recruiter. Ma'am, you have a question here also.
Actually,
no, we have someone here.
an observation. As a service provider to manufacturing, we look at compensation, wage rates, and so forth. And we've all talked here about the professional side of manufacturing. I think we need to have awareness of what about the machine operator, the machinists? Where we find them, and we can come up with the right pay rate, but we can't find the bodies. So it's easy to talk about millennials and talk about people, the professional side, but what are we doing about trying to find the resources and training and help?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And we had the same struggles. Every company I've worked for has always had a hard time finding the hourly workforce, specifically mechanics. Very challenging. The reality is that many young people these days are not learning those skills for whatever reason. They want to go to a four-year school or whatever the situation is. It's very difficult to identify that talent. So what we do with L'Oreal, with those sorts of consultant skill sets, is we hire for culture and we train for skill. So we will do work with a lot of various temp agencies, get referrals, and then bring those individuals in, train them, and then hopefully have a long-standing career with us in that function. So, but it's a great point. I think also another good area to target from that standpoint is obviously we have a lot of servicemen and women returning from overseas. That is also a great opportunity, opportunities for those individuals.
We have time for one more question over here. Now?
Yes, actually, I had an answer for the gentleman back there. Rarity Valley Community College partners with local manufacturers and trains people for those types of jobs. So I just wanted to mention that. But my question was really for Tarek Shaya. Going back to your opening statement, you you said, there is, there is a lack of awareness by young people of what is out there. And I think you're absolutely right. And I was just wondering, how would you advise a young person to find those opportunities, and then conversely for manufacturers, how do you find those people that are looking for those opportunities?
So I think as a young person, some of the main things that we can do, at least at a university level, maybe even in high school, is seek out professional organizations. Like I mentioned a little bit before, those tend to help a lot with networking, at least in an academic environment. From a manufacturer's perspective, social media is obviously big. The question is how to leverage it. So if you look around on social media, there's all these kinds of Facebook ads, Twitter ads, all these different kinds of things. They're not that expensive in the sense that they would give you a much higher rate of return than other advertising and marketing tools. I personally believe that if I saw an ad on Facebook for a company with a lesser-known company with a good blurb regarding what they do and what they could possibly offer me, I would be more likely to click on that link. Same thing with LinkedIn. There was all these different kinds of ad services. Another way of, I think, going about it is that in schools, when you seek to recruit, even in high schools, explain to them that there is an alternative to the standard, to the finance route, to the accounting route. There is an alternative in a strong math and quantitative skill career that can help each and every one of us succeed in the world that we're living in today. Regardless of what products are used, regardless of what tools are used in financial markets or anything like that, the products that we use today still need to exist. There's someone that still needs to make the chairs and the tables that we're sitting on today, just as a broad example. And I think if you sell them on that dream that you're still making something that is used by millions or billions of people every day, you will capture the minds and imaginations of my generation, truly speaking. Does that answer your question?
Yes, just one follow-up question for Facebook and Twitter. Is there a particular place or keywords that a person punches in to get to the right place? We all know what Facebook and Twitter is for our own personal use, but is there a place that a young person or employers can go that is what used to be in the paper as, the job opportunity section?
So Google offers an option something called AdSense, which is based on the target demographic that you're looking to seek out. Same thing with Facebook and Twitter. They have their own personal ad profiles that you can put in and define the information that you want to talk about with the people that you want to talk about essentially with. So that is always a good tool because that allows you to target a very specific audience. Let's say you want to go 18 to 24 with this particular career. Facebook will actually look into, okay, these people have listed this university and this major within this radius. It's a very advanced tool that's very strong that allows you guys to pick up exactly the target market that you're looking for while also keeping your costs down. So that's really the most effective way I personally think to do it.
This is the reason why you should have a millennial working very closely with your HR department. We have one more comment over here, then we're going to call it. Sir.
Good morning. My name is Anwar. I'm representing all the 19 community colleges in New Jersey. I'm going to tell you the best kept secret in the state. In the last 3 years, we have been running the manufacturing initiative throughout the community colleges, specifically in regions where small manufacturers are concentrated. Some of the manufacturers here know us and the program that we run. This response is directly to the last question about finding machine operators. The program that we have, we run at the Community College, Bergen, Morris, Middlesex, Gloucester, Camden, Brookfield, many colleges around the state. So we have a mobile training lab. We have 2 of them. One trains machine operators. We have a PPE Haas CNC machines for milling and lathe, manual machines in the trailer. We bring them to the community college and we train folks, and we have employer partners before we train the program. And these people, 10 to 12 people at a time, they all get jobs immediately. All of them pass the NIMS credentials, which are nationwide entry-level technician training program. Now, the added benefit to that program is that we have grants, about $12 million from the federal government, the manufacturers who hire our trainees. get up to $10,000. We have already given out, I want to say about $2 million in the last 3 years. And if you have any more information, if you need more information, just come and see me or go to our West Community College, Ready to Work, New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Folks, I want to thank you for joining us this morning.